And again, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show as it rolls on this Monday. The Sheriff's Sit Down, presented by our great friends at our Community Credit Union, on the air now. Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury on the phone line. Also, Chaplain Joel Harris. We had a great conversation with Joel a few weeks back, and a lot of folks commented about the great message that he had to share. We'll get to him in just a second. But first, Casey, if you can talk a little bit about kind of just what's going on currently in the state. There's a lot of folks that have been working hard to stay home and stay healthy, but there are other folks out there that are, I guess, going a different path. And what have you heard about that from your counterparts across the state?
You know, depending on where you live or how big or how small your county is or what's going on, people have different opinions. And it's been really challenging for people, and I understand that. I mean, I've had people ask me to speak out, and I'll tell you what's been great about our meetings in Mason County. We meet with our local physicians in the morning, our fire staff, nurses and our director of the health department, all these different individuals in the system that EMS staff that are working to keep people safe. And I am so proud of the group that we have. And I know that we have some cases here, but we've been doing pretty darn well. And sometimes people ask me questions about health or other things. And I like to point that they're subject matter experts for that. And on those, I think they need to talk to Dave Wyndham, or they maybe need to talk to Dr. Gushy or Dr. Stein, because their opinions are the ones that really have the professional skills to answer some of the questions that I'm being asked. But,
yeah.
What came up last week was this same thing about kind of who is right. And that has always kind of bothered me, because I think we need to more focus on what is right as opposed to who. And then we asked the other day, the chaplain was called on just to, what have you got? And he related a story that fit right in with about character and integrity and basically what's the right thing to do. And I thought that maybe he'd share that with us today.
Sure. Morning, Joel. Good to talk with you again.
Good morning, Jeff. Good to talk with you, too.
And I'm sure over the years that you've done such great work as a chaplain in Mason County and all across the country, you have run across instances and stories that can really help boil down what everybody's feeling into maybe thinking about it a different way, and just some great ways to keep the positive spirits up. What do you got for me today?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jeff, and you're right, over about, I don't know how many years now, I've collected a lot of them. But it's funny, like a lot of my fellow seniors, I get up in the morning, I check Facebook. I think a lot of people do, to see how our friends and family are all surviving our current invisible war. And I was scrolling through the postings the other day and came across an item from one of my wife's old high school bandmates about an experience she had at her local post office. She was commenting about regretting losing her cool and, in her words, going all Oscar the Grouch on another senior citizen who pushed past this line of patiently waiting clients and cut to the front of the line, and then further took advantage of everybody in line by, in her words, being unreasonable cuckoo with the clerk over and over and over again. She concluded her posting by saying, "I guess I've got a lot to learn about patience in unsavory situations." And actually, from what I know of her, she doesn't. But it reminded me of a story that I had read years back in a little book called Chicken Soup for the Kid's Soul. Seems this lady, Deborah, was working as a classroom volunteer selling tickets to the school's last performance of its annual play. One of her customers that day was the mother of a student. "I don't understand why I have to pay to see my own kid perform," she said, yanking a wallet from her purse. "The school just asked for a voluntary donation to help pay for scenery and costumes," Deborah explained, "but no one has to pay. You're welcome to all the tickets you want." The lady says, "Sure, I'll go ahead. You know how it is. I'll pay. Fine. 2 adults and a child," and then plunked down a $10 bill. Well, taking the tickets and the change, she stepped aside, and that's when this little boy behind her emptied a pocket full of change on the table. How many tickets? Deborah asked. I don't need tickets. The little boy said, I'm just paying. And pushed the coins across the table. Well, you need tickets to get in to see the show tonight. The boy shook his head and said, I already saw the show. I saw it last night with my big brother, but we got here late and couldn't find anybody to buy tickets from, so we just walked in. Well, knowing that lots of people had probably just walked in, Deborah smiled and said, well, if the ticket table was closed when you got here, honey, that's okay. You couldn't pay. Well, that's what my brother said, responded the boy. Well, hoping to save him $2, Deborah told him, don't worry about it. Nobody will know the difference. The boy pushed the coins back further on the table, looked up at her and said, I know the difference.
Wow.
There was a moment of silence. Deborah took the change, smiled, and said, that'll be $2. The boy smiled, turned around, and walked off. And that's when Deborah got her second surprise. She looked up to see a once very angry mother who'd bought her own tickets earlier standing there with purse open, change and tickets in hand, and said, why don't you keep the change? I think the school can use it. I got thinking, Jeff, in a day that seems like everyone is in panic, pushing and shoving mode, and sometimes looking out for number one, I try to remember what Congressman J.C. Watts used to say, character is nothing more than doing what's right when nobody's looking. I think those are the kind of characters we need, especially in our current invisible war, and the kind of people and models we need to see out.
That's a great story. We are reminded often of the goodwill that people do try to push forth to everyone in the community, and there are, and Casey, we've talked about this well and above, more folks that are adhering to the rules, to the laws, just in normal daily society. But every so often, folks get pushed and they kind of boil over perhaps a little more than they need to. And these are some good reminders that we can all slow down a little bit and look for the good that's out there, because it is out there.
Yeah, Jeff, I've been asked many times about what's going on in our county, and we've had some other counties comment on the incident command system. It really wasn't set up by me. I'm just part of it. The job that they're doing to try to keep people safe and these things moving. I would tell you that in most instances when we're out there, a large percentage, almost to everybody in our community, has been doing a really good job and acting responsibly. And that is so appreciated among the EMS staff, the fire personnel, our nurses, our doctors, the law enforcement personnel. It's so helpful when we're all working together. And I just want to relate out that overall as a county, we're doing really, really well. And we're relying on those subject matter experts to continue to guide us in the right way. And I feel our local subject matter experts in those areas are doing a super job. So, thank you for having us on. I thought that Joel's words the other day, they just pointed out those things for our community, and it was wonderful to have him speak to our group, and we're going to continue to have him on from time to time, and he's going to continue to support the efforts of all the emergency service people.
Well, that's a great idea. I've been following along with the Mason County All Hazard News Facebook page. That's where I got the video from Dave Wyndham for last week that I aired that kind of talked about the different next phases that the county could possibly go through. And I do appreciate the time that you and everybody that has afforded to us to have these conversations on the air. It really, I think, does help to get people's awareness going on and to make sure folks are, okay and know that you guys are out there working hard, and that this hard work that we're doing by staying home, as hard as that is, it is for folks, is actually making a difference and helping people out there. Again, the Sheriff Sit Down this day and every week is presented by our great friends at our Community Credit Union. Again, Mason County Sheriff on the phone line now, Casey Salisbury, Chaplain Joel Harris. Good to talk with you guys, and thank you so much for putting yourselves out there on the front line for all of us in the county.
Thanks, Jeff. Take care.
Jeff.
Good to talk with you guys.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.